All right, this morning we are going to solve inequalities. I told you earlier that solving inequalities is very similar to solving equations. There's a couple little things that are different, but we'll get to that as we're going here. So, well, let's just talk about those two things that are different, okay? It's really one thing, but multiplication and division, they're not different. They don't affect the numbers any different. But if you multiply or divide by a negative number, when you're trying to balance the equation, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to switch the inequality symbol. And what I mean by switch the inequality symbol is if it's a greater than, it needs to change to a less than. And if it's a less than, you change it to a greater than. Okay? So we'll get going here, and I know I have one example in here of doing that, but we'll solve a couple inequalities on this video. Okay? So let's look at this one. 9/5 c plus 32 is greater than negative 31. Okay? We want to get the c by itself. So let's take the simplest operation, which is plus 32, and we will get rid of that by subtracting 32. Okay? So we end up with 9/5 c, still greater than. We did not divide or multiply by a negative, so our greater than sign is the same. And then negative 31 and negative 32 is negative 63. Okay? Now we have 9/5 c is greater than negative 63. There's two options here. We can talk about dividing both sides by 9/5. Okay? And that's not necessarily the one that I like. It's just a little bit harder. So I like to multiply by its reciprocal, 5/9. And we'll change this into a fraction. 5/9. Okay? Makes this look a little bit nicer. Okay? Everything cancels over here. And that leaves us with c. And we multiplied by 5/9, which is positive, so our inequality symbol stays the same. Still a greater than sign. And negative 63 times 5 divided by 9 is negative 35. And we have it solved. C is greater than negative 35. Okay? So the steps to solving inequalities are the same as the steps for solving equations. We just have to look out for that pitfall of when we multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay, let's look at this one. Excuse me. Okay, the simplest thing, we have negative 7b plus 19 is less than negative 16. The simplest thing to get rid of is the plus 19. So let's go ahead and do that by subtracting 19 from both sides. Okay, we're left with negative 7b is less than, and negative 16 plus negative 19 is negative 35. Okay. And now we need to get rid of the negative 7 that's in front of the b. Okay, and it's negative 7 times b, so we're going to divide by negative 7. Divide by negative 7 on both sides. Negative 7's cancel, leaves me with a b. Now we have to think. I divided by negative 7. And the rule is if I multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to flip the inequality symbol. So the inequality symbol was a less than sign. So I'm going to change it. It was a less than. I'm going to change it to a greater than sign. Okay? And then let's finish out what's happening here. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 35 divided by 7 is 5. Okay? So b is greater than 5.